Hello and welcome to IB Times. I'm Lianna Brinded, Senior Journalist for the International Business Times. Joining me now is Christophe Pillet. He's an award-winning designer and was selected by Be Open for a hybrid installation. Hi, well, thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you very much.
No problem. So to kick off, it will be hybrid architecture and design seems to be experiencing a renaissance over the last year or so. Why do you think this has happened?
Why this idea of hybridation happened, I think it can be maybe a sort of symbol of what we're living in the Occident, this big nostalgia of our glorious past and this necessity to look the future, but not as it was the case in the modern times with an optimistic mood, but in a sort of a surviving necessity. So these two things together are certainly why this hybrid stuff, this new theme is coming up here, not only in those kind of exercises, but also in the everyday work we're doing in creation.
Sure, and with the beautiful House of Senses where we are in at the moment, can you tell me a little bit about how you've married the technology and maybe the more traditional forms of design and architecture?
You said already everything that should be said. I mean, this is a very personal game here. There is no big message to humanity. It's just a personal pleasure to try to match contrast, to put together things that are usually contradictions, the inside and the outside, the charming, nostalgic shape outside and the super techno stuff inside, the materiality of this little house and the immateriality of the feelings we can have provided by these images. I mean, all these things together. And I said to myself, let's try to do something, but not just something useless, something that I would be able to use in my everyday work. Like, can we make a house without using wallpaper, carpet, rugs, lights? Can we have other technological ways to make that, to provide senses, emotions, and experience? I thought this is just about it.
Sure, and what would you say are maybe the key methods or materials that you can see yourself using later to develop projects of your own, a few years down the line?
I really believe that light should be something that when you see our light in theaters, in movies, in scenography in general, is powerful to create emotions, to create spaces, to create perspective, I said to myself that I would love one day to make a shop, an hotel, where light is the main material, is absolutely sustainable, first of all, but immaterial stuff that makes all the difference.
Sure, and do you see, while we're talking about light and it being environmentally sustainable, do you see that as an undercurrent for the way design is evolving, the more awareness of our environment?
Sustainability is no longer some snobbish, idealistic idea. It's a real necessity, Everybody now is conscious that if we don't make effort to be cleaner, we're gonna die, clearly. So this is a new input in our everyday life. So we must be concerned by this. I am not concerned as a missionary of sustainability. It's just an essential necessity.
Sure. And I mean, going forward, we've talked about light being the main component that you'd really like to work with. Do you see other methods or certain, I suppose, materials that you've used as a benchmark in this house that other people may take away and develop into maybe projects as well?
I don't really know. I don't know. I like to use materials. Sometimes I always have the question, what are your favorite materials, or what are your position with materials? As a designer, I'm telling a story, I'm writing stories, and I use the material, the colors, the shape as an element of language. They're words, if I was a writer, I would use words. For me, they're words. So I don't have favorite words, as I don't
Yeah.
have favorite materials. And I think it's up to anybody to talk his proper language and to use his proper words.
Sure. And so maybe to round off yesterday, the talk that you had with all the other architects, designers, and of course Philippe Daverio, there was talk that design and architecture is going to be a key component in actually helping the economy, especially in Italy, where it's famed for obviously design. What are your thoughts on that?
I think this is already the case. If you see, let's take some example. In the car industry, what's make the difference between a brand and another one? It's just the look of the cars. They all have the same level of technology, they all have the same level of security, they all have the same level of economy. So of course you have more expensive cars and less expensive cars. But the difference is just the feeling you have when you see a car. So this is clearly the design issue, and this is the same for all the goods. For the words of consuming is now led just by the shape of the things, but the shape not in a basic way. The shape is how do I feel in front of an object, how this object is desirable. We are no longer in a world, I'm talking about Western countries, Occidental people, rich people, blah, blah, blah. We don't buy products because we need them. There is no longer an act of necessity when buying. It's just an act of affection. I want it, I desire it, and this is made by the design of the product.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
You're very welcome.
And that was Christophe Pillet, award-winning designer, and selected Be Open hybrid installation.